Kane, it's 1-0. We're freaking down. 13th in the championship. The takeover happened as I said it would. People will be. Oh, when have we got Leeds? Yes! Now then, people, and welcome back to the Just Joe Football Show. Listen, I can't help but be giddy. There is some things that we need to obviously talk about and dissect, but right now I'm just happy. Why am I happy? Because Preston, in that second half, all they did was shithouse. That's all they did since they scored. Roughhouse tactics. He brought off every single striker imaginable. Brought on every defender imaginable. Just so everyone could get fresh yellow cards. All my midfields all got yellows. Let's change them so all that new midfield can all get yellows. But ultimately, it didn't work. And that's why you can get it up. You're listening to Andy Hinchcliffe going, oh, they deserve a point. No, they do not. No, they do not. Anti-football. Leeds wanted to play, and you know what? Yeah, we made hard work and all that. On another day, we win, we score more goals, which we should have done. But ultimately, fair play to the referee. I just want to say fair play because I thought he was shite throughout the game. But for him to give that penalty at a key moment, you have to give him props for that because it takes a lot. And he did give it. And listen, of course, when Bamford had it, the mad thing is, when he passed it to Pirro, the crowd cheered. I was like, what? And what a cool, calm, collected penalty. Just come on, barely done much. Should have had a chance earlier on, early doors for me. He didn't. And he should have. Listen, many chances. Rutter, header. There's all sorts. We will pick through it. We will pick through it all. I've made notes as I like to do, folks, and we will go through all that. But just elated because for me, and I said this before, I'm not too concerned about the scoreline because people saying at half time, if that's Leicester, if that's Ipswich, if that's whoever, therefore 5-0 up. I'm more concerned, more happy about the fact that we had a game like that and managed to still get the 3 points, regardless of how it came in terms of a penalty or whatever. We still came out of the other side of it. So that's progression for me. And that's 4 games now and 4 wins. You know, we've got Norwich midweek. We've got to continue the form. The squad as a whole will feel a massive boost from getting that. 100%. I've lost my voice. Listen, we've got people waiting in the wings, so I'm going to bring them in 1v1, let them have the moment, and then we'll pick the bones out of it. First of all, who's always here nice and early, it is, of course, my man, Andrea Russo. Andrea, how do you feel about that one, my man?
Brilliant. We deserved to win. It was frustrating not to get the 3 points, honestly. It was growing frustrating throughout the game because we were creating, we were playing, I think, very well, especially in attacking flow. But unfortunately, we were in clinical. Also, the eat the post, and some also the chipped attempt by James.
James.
Yeah. So it was really frustrating because it would have been mental to get just 1 point out of a possible 6-second Preston. Honestly, they're really, like you said, shithouse. You know, they were just trying to waste time, trying to get 1 point away. I get that. You know, they don't have the quality we have. And also, I want to bring this one early. Did Liam Miller create anything against Archie Gray?
Oh well, I don't want to. Yeah. I don't want to say that. So, yeah. It is what it is. I love that. Let's bring in the tribal chief. My man JT, the hype man. How are you feeling after that, mate?
Mate, phenomenal. Just to start again, another game, another Firpo assist, another
he was
magical assist.
He was brilliant. He was
brilliant. And to be fair, I didn't even see him put too much of a foot wrong defensively. No. But that was agreed. The second half was one of the most frustrating halves of football I watched in my life. Like you said, the referee completely lost control of the game for me. Completely. Yeah. They were chopping us every single time we started to get a bit of momentum. They take us down. But we were so wasteful as well. So many chances we had, we could have scored. But to be fair, usually I would look at it in that kind of game and I'd say, this is the kind of game Leeds, we don't have that bit of quality to break down the final pass. But I thought we did today. I thought we were just lacking that bit of luck, that ball to just bounce right for someone, just that little bit of luck in the final third. I thought that's all we were missing. And I thought it would have been an absolute travesty to throw away 3 points there. and the manner in which he did it. I mean, the penalty could have been a little bit soft for a pen, to be fair, but after the way everything else went, the game, I think we deserved that. We deserved a bit of luck like that. And it was just a quality performance all around, man. The pace involved in the attack. We looked hungry. We looked energetic. We looked sharp. I thought Dan James was very good. Somerville was back to his best. Rutter, it's a shame we're not going to have him next week. Bamford, I thought, was phenomenal throughout the game. I would have liked him to take the
Why are we not having Rutter? I'm just finding this out. Has he hit the yellow card, Mark, or something?
He got for the challenge that the ref pulled back.
Oh, has he hit the 5 yellow card thing? I didn't know that.
The card mark, yeah.
So no way.
And the way he gave that was so bad as well, because the ref didn't even call the foul.
I know.
And then he came back after because the other guy said he was hurt. But you can't do that. Anyway, listen, nitpicking. But I thought the team were phenomenal, man.
Yeah, 100%. Let me bring in Lockie, who's up next. Like Lockie actually texted our WhatsApp group, said, Joe, I've had to go for a walk. I'm fuming. And then obviously we get a pen and we win and that. But let's bring him in, Lockie.
And I will watch 500 times.
I went for a walk after that goal.
Oh, after the goal. Oh, right. Okay.
I hate this game. I hate it.
Looks like he played.
Yeah, you look like you played. Yeah.
My voice is going. Oh, I hate it. Do you know what though? It made you feel something that game though, didn't it? It got you. You know what I mean? You can win games 3-0 easily, but when it's one of them, it's frustrating and you hate it, but it makes you feel something.
Yeah,
and I like that.
My reaction to that penalty, genuinely, man. You don't. I was. Because we needed it so much, man. We needed it so much. And the way they played in that second half, man, honestly, insane. Let's bring in Evie and Rose in between 4 thorns. Evie, how are you after that?
My stress levels are at absolute next level. My throat is sore from screaming. I was so happy that Bamford played such a brilliant team player by passing the ball to Pirro. I felt a little bit sorry because of how loud the cheers were when he passed the ball to Pirro. But yeah, like JT's right, we deserved some luck in that game. You know, we were by far the better team. And if you take the first probably 2 minutes out of the game, we got what we deserved. You know, we got the win because they were dirty. Like half of their players shouldn't have been on the pitch by the end of the game. Like it was, the ref was just an absolute fool. Like he didn't have control of the game. There was players launching. I don't know whether you saw right near the end, Ampadu and one of their players having a little rugby tackle / cuddle on the floor.
Brown, I think.
As well. Yeah. And it was, you just couldn't believe. And I don't think Bamford deserved to get a yellow card. And I don't think Firpo deserved to get his yellow card as well. I think there were some really dodgy decisions. And he took ages in order to give the goalkeeper a yellow card for time wasting as well. Like he was like pitiful, and he was crap as well because I wish that we could have exploited that more because he was really poor. Every time he came out for the ball, it was a real opportunity for us to have that, and we didn't. So I was grateful. I just thought it was going to be another one of those games where we rue the chances.
Yeah, I agree. And, a lot of Leeds, they find ways to criticise our performance, even Leeds fans, and compare it with others, etc. But I think for me, the most important thing was winning the game, was getting 3 points and coming through a game like that. It shows that, like you've mentioned before, Evie, these are the teams we struggle against. We came through it. We came out on the other side and we pick up 3 points. And that's the thing. It was a slog, but we got there in the end. I do just want to pick out some moments. Andrea, I'll come back to you. 1-0 Preston. It's a header at the back post. It comes back across. I'm still trying to find and look to see if there was, who was actually at fault for it. Could we have done anything? I mean, Miller's hit a strike, and then I think it's what's his name who scores it? I forgot his name.
Wilkin, yeah.
Wilkin scores it and just puts it goalward. Like, could we have done any better than with that? That was their only real opportunity, I think.
I think it was a scramble, he shoots, he's deflected, he goes to them. So unfortunately, it was left free, basically. We were all focused on Miller, and we were caught by surprise by the deflection, I think. So I don't know, honestly, if we could have done better, in perspective, probably yes, because you have to be ready to switch. But yeah, I think everyone was focused on Miller when he shoot. And then when Keane hit the ball, we were caught by surprise because we were basically all on the other side of the area and had to switch because it was clearly in the middle. And yeah, I don't think we could have done better, honestly, because it was we were caught by surprise there. Very tricky deflection,
Yeah, 100%. And the mad thing is, everyone's kicking off about Heckingbottom. So I don't know what he's saying in this post-match, but if he's saying anything along the lines of that they deserve something from this, then he's talking absolute wet and he's just a Leeds hater. Let's be honest. Look, it didn't take long for us to get back in on level terms. I thought Gruyev was fantastic in the build-up, beat his man, moved it out to the left-hand side. Somerville maybe overhits it slightly to Firpo, but Firpo gets there, crosses it, and it's a lovely cross by Firpo, JT, and James headers it in at the back post, my man, and we're one apiece. And Firpo, again, you said it, and I agree with what you said earlier. I thought defensively he showed up today as well in parts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I don't think he really put much of a foot wrong. And offensively, I thought that was one of his best games. I think he's actually gradually improving confidence-wise. To be fair, what I would say, you'd expect it, because this guy, like you said, he's played for elite clubs. He played for Barcelona. He's played for Leeds in the Premier League. Against sides in the Championship, he does have the quality and the pace, as you can see, to really damage sides going forward. And I think I would definitely keep him in that position. Obviously, defensively, he's had question marks today. I would say, to caveat it, if I'm going to give an honest representation of it, I don't think Preston really challenged us that much. I don't think Firpo had too much to do in the game. But when he was called upon, I thought he held himself very well, in my opinion.
Yeah. Does anyone else have any thoughts on Firpo? I think it's only fair, because I do criticise him, or have criticised him a lot. I think it's only fair we do give him his flowers when they're due. I think in these last 3 or 4 games, he's really done well. Yes, there's still been question marks defensively, but even today, when he was called upon, because the truth is, against Cardiff, he was barely challenged, but when he was beaten. Against Preston today, I thought he did really well. Does anyone else have any thoughts on Junior's performance? I actually, just to jump ahead, was annoyed that he brought him off. I would have preferred to have keep him on, just because I think he offers us more from an attacking standpoint. And I know this might sound like I love Byron, but it's just because he's left-footed. Maybe it is just because he's left-footed. But I wouldn't have brought him off personally. I'd have maybe put Gray into midfield and for Kamara and move Byron out to the right-hand side of the back three. But does anyone have any thoughts?
Yeah, I think he made some good interceptions, especially in the first half. And when he was challenged, he still struggles sometimes to get his positioning, but I think he was very decent today. Also defensively. Offensively, of course, he offers us more. And I like the fact, the other thing I want to say about the Firpo, I like the fact that Farke wants him to play. He is now leaving him free to go ahead, go forward.
Yeah.
Because we have Gray, basically, when we are in possession, we are basically playing with 3 at the back sometimes, because we have Ampadu, Rodan and Gray staying back. He's not getting forward on the other side as Firpo. If you look, Firpo's position is way higher than Gray's.
Yeah, I think, although I do, and I have got it in my notes, there was times, Lockie, only early doors where Gray was very high up, and there was that save that Meslier had to pull out from Liam Miller because he'd left so much space in behind. It was a decent save by Meslier, decent height for him, but he had a chance in the early 10-15 minutes, I think.
Yeah, well, we lost the ball in a silly position, didn't we?
Kamara, wasn't it? Yeah.
You shouldn't have lost the ball there. It's simple as that. He does that every time. That's how we play. He goes high up.
Yeah.
You were doing it all game. Him and Dan James, I thought, did really well together out there. Dan James is unbelievable.
What a player! What a turnaround!
But yeah, there were a few battles. It's a good battle. I think it's 2 these days. It's 2. He had him today, or he had him today. I think it was a good battle in the first 15-20 minutes. I think Archie Gray beat him 1v1 two or 3 times. He won the ball off him, and then Miller got the better of him 2 or 3 times. Good battle.
Yeah,
that's what I thought. But yeah, I just think he just keeps. You saw Daniel Farke at the end there, speaking to him on the pitch, giving him tips and stuff. Learning, it's important for him. Yeah. And every game he plays against a different opponent or an opponent that beat him before, the mentality thing is learning every game about being a better player. And strength to strength for Archie. But yeah, we've got to be careful. Like, that's the risk reward thing, you know, when the way we play. We tried to create overloads out wide. Kamara lost it on that attempt, but most of the times we get it out of there and it works out wide. That's where we create a lot of chances. But yeah.
Let's jump ahead. Evie, I'll come back to you. Let's jump ahead because I do want to say, like I said it during the second half, like the change in Dan James in terms of his football brain, like he always seems to now make the right decision. Obviously, he's coming in at the back post. I thought even just when he decides to pass, when he decides to run, he caused them problems all game. And I think, you know, for me, I'd argue he was my man of the match today, Evie. I thought he was phenomenal.
Yeah, I agree. To be honest, I thought he just did incredible. And I wish we'd have exploited that right-hand side, because there was a real moment where Dan James was just getting everybody booked down the right-hand side and we kept on going down the left. And Somerville, for me, again, I don't think he was on it today. I don't think that he was as useful as he usually is. But saying that, he still offers something. So it's kind of infuriating because he still offers more than what we've got on the bench, in my opinion. But I still don't think and to be honest, I don't think Rutter had a great game. I think the second half he improved, especially defensively. But Dan James was just everywhere, and he was so good defensively. I wish he could have got that little chipped goal as well that just hit the top of the net, because he was just brilliant. And that run, you know, when he just puts on the afterburners, there's nobody catching him.
No, I agree. Sorry, I just lost thing because the chat, folks, the chat's frozen on StreamYard, so I can't see your comments. I was listening, Evie. It's just for whatever reason, comments have stopped coming in on StreamYard, so I might have to drop back out and drop back in so I can see them later on. But yeah, I think he was exceptional and so lucky with that chipped goal as well, right? Like for me, James gone by lashes that, but and I know he misses, right? I know he misses, but it's like. Fair play, James. And he's running to cause the keeper to come out at times and stuff. He was everywhere. He did
it 2 or 3 times. It's an absolute nightmare. If anything, you know, even when he's not playing well, it's an absolute nightmare. Just his pure pace and energy and his actual desire to use that and be aggressive in that moment there. Like I think there's a ball for Bamford who missed it and there was no one around it. And Dan James just pops up. You know, he epitomizes to me this club. I think he does. I think he's really developing the technical side of it, and that's down to the management and him as well, working hard on that. I saw him in an interview in a podcast, I think the FL podcast this week, mentioned about how Daniel Farke just gets him to shoot, wants him to shoot more, just to practice and keep doing it and keep, you know, repetition and all that. And you can see he's clearly improving. And sometimes it's as simple as that. And it's just about slowing the game down and watching your performance more and just understanding little nuances of how you play. And you can see now his positional play is a lot better. Defensively, he's excellent. His anticipation's always been good, I think, Dan James, and his work rate. But now he's getting the end product to that game, to that side of it. He epitomizes the club and the situation we're in. For me, I think he's brilliant. And the kind of redemption arc he's been on, you know,
amazing.
Shipped out last year to Fulham, didn't get much game time there. Came back this year. A lot of people question him again, rightly so, because we're not seeing the product that we thought we'd get for 25 million. What have we paid for him? But now he's getting that, and maybe this was a good move for him to stay in the Championship and develop because, he epitomizes Leeds for me right now.
Yeah, and you know, Andrea, coming back to you before we go back to JT, I think this redemption arc, it's happening for a lot of them. James, Bamford, Firpo, and you know, as much as I've criticised these players, I don't not want them to do well. My agenda isn't that strong that when they do well, I refuse to speak about their decent performances and stuff. Like for me, if they've done well, they deserve to be praised. And I, for one, want me to be wrong when I criticise certain players. And I hope that's the same for those that dislike Bamford or those that have always, you know, you can be wrong. But I think just as a collective, you know, because I've said James shouldn't be playing. I've said Firpo. I've said all three of them players at some point this season should not be playing in this side. And they've all proved me wrong because although Bamford, you know, those that are I can see Philip says Bamford was not good today. If Bamford wasn't in that side today, we create nowhere near as much as we do.
Absolutely.
That's the thing. Pirro and Rutter, as them two, trust me, you'd have been more frustrated than you were today. Go on, Andrea.
Yeah, I agree totally. I think that it all comes down in the end to giving credit to Farke, because I think we saw Farke playing in a system under Marsh that left him wide open on the left, honestly. So he wasn't suited for his skills in terms of how he plays. And I think it's the same for Bamford. You know, we were playing a lot of long balls towards him, using him like a target man up front as the number 9. When we saw today that he can get involved. He can get involved with the ball, also trying to be the link-up player, but also trying to create depth and getting behind. And it's the same for James, unfortunately, under Bielsa too. When we didn't have the depth, we used him as the number 9 because we had no one else. So we never saw before this season, I think, James played in its natural position this consistently. And if you remember at the start of the season, I said that with a proper 10, and now we have Rutter playing in the 10, James would have been even better. Because if you remember at the start of the season, we was struggling to get involved. He was starting to get past his defender, because the best attribute he has, I think, is trying to get in behind, make a run for the space, into the space. And I think right now we have found also the good formation, the good system that works for both of them. Because in the end, you know, Firpo, he can get forward, and you have, especially when you're playing with Gruy and Ampadu, of course, though sometimes Gruy and Ampadu, only one of them is more involved. I think Gruy struggled to get involved as he would have liked today. We have more defensive-minded players also when we're attacking, that can cover our own half, you know, that can cover our defensive end. And I think this allows Philip to get forward. Also, Bamford works pretty well in this team, because he stretches the team, presses, likes to get running behind, tries to get at not one, but 2 defenders too. In the end, and I think James also, when we overload on one side, there's the space to make a run on the other one, and it's like today with the cross from Farke, you know.
Yeah, no, I agree. JT, I'm going to come to you. Chris Kelly's telling us Heckingbottom saying Preston controlled the first half and deserved a point. I've also just seen a tweet from Adam Pope and a text from Chris that says Ryan Law felt it wasn't a penalty and a fair result would have been 1-1, but we've been done by a decision. What are your thoughts on that, mate?
Mate, we got done by about 10 decisions that game, so I don't know what game that guy was watching. Listen, as I said, the penalty could go either way. It's a soft penalty, but you can see why penalty was given. We had a couple more opportunities even there in the second half where Rutter got taken down, and you could arguably have been given a penalty there. So listen, we got a couple that went against us and we got one that went for us. So I think over the balance of the game, it was the fair decision to give. I don't think they controlled anything. They couldn't control a darts game against Stevie Wonder. I don't know what that guy was on about, to be honest with you. I thought Leeds were in consummate control. I don't think, aside from their early goal, that they really phased us or challenged us in the slightest. We were easily in control. It was just a matter of Leeds not taking our own chances. I like what you're saying about Dan James. I think one of the main reasons he's actually performing a lot better as well is Patrick Bamford. Patrick Bamford, the way he was spreading the channels, the way he was pulling defenders out of position. There was one chance, I think it was the chip for Dan James. You see Bamford kind of like he fake flicks the ball with the outside of his foot, and you can see he drags the fullback away from him, and it just opens this huge gap for Dan James to exploit and run into. And I think you saw that all game. I thought you were a little bit harsh on Somerville, to be honest with you. I don't think he was great, though. I thought he was pretty good. I thought compared to last week, I thought he was improved. I thought he was on the right track. I thought his corners were a bit poor, to be honest with you. His set piece delivery was.
They all were, mate. I felt everyone's, to be honest, not great.
Yeah, but especially Somerville, I would say, were quite off it today. But in terms of the way, again, he was playing off Bamford, and the link-up play with Farke on that left-hand side, I thought was great. I don't see really any moment in which Leeds look troubled today, and that's rare for me to say. Usually when we're drawing 1-1, I'm quite nervous because we always have a mistake waiting to happen. There's always like to have. But until we actually went 2-1 up, we didn't look in any danger. There was no stress, no trouble for us. And it breeds me confidence going forward. I have to say also, I said earlier on in the stream that Rutter would have been suspended. I got that rule wrong. It's up to 15 yellow cards now because it's the second half of the season. But I think, like I said, if on your question, no, I don't think we were phased at all. If I was going to say who the main man was, underrated again, Patrick Bamford. Even when he's not scoring, just the work rate, everything about him, he unlocks so much out of the other players. He brings so much out of James, Somerville, everyone.
That's what I mean. It's you bang on. It's so easy to say, well, Bamford wasn't good today, but then again, and with people have heard this conversation before where we say, yeah, but he brings so much, and I think he used to get criticised because he wasn't scoring goals because he was the only outlet. But now we have a team full of outlets that can come up, so that he'll then not get praised. Oh, he's not had a good game because he's not scored or got an assist or whatever. But like you've said, he occupies so much. If we don't have him today and we have Pirro and Rutter, like for me, we don't win that game and don't look as comfortable as we did. Because I agree with you, JT. Yeah, go on.
I was saying Rutter and Pirro, just they play on the same lines too much. They play in the same spaces, and it's so frustrating because they'll both come deep or they'll both play the last man. Yeah. But you know, Pirro's not going to find that space because he's not that type of player. So it's frustrating that people, you know, say stuff like that when Bamford that's what he does. If anything, his movement is brilliant. He's a really smart footballer, and that's an underrated trait for Patrick Bamford. His experience, and that experience, you know, he knows where to make the runs. You understand systems quickly. You understand where you should be because you're used to it, your experience, and that's what experience can bring. Yeah, look, he's never going to be this clinical player that does all the right things, Patrick Bamford. Otherwise, he won't be in the Championship, you know. Otherwise, he'd got 30 caps for England. But what he is a smart footballer who, when he's on form, is really effective. The problem with Patrick Bamford is the form with injuries and everything else around it is the reason why, you know, he's not reached the heights. Because I remember when he was really young and there was a lot of thing around him. I think it was when
he went to Chelsea, bro, from Forest.
Yeah. You know but he's always had that IQ. He's always been a smart footballer, as Patrick Bamford. And he does help the team massively for me.
I wanted to say that I agree with JT. Honestly, for me, Bamford was the man of the match too, in terms of how he moved. Apart from Farke and James, I think Bamford was the key in all that attacking play, honestly, and creating that, keeping us forward on the pitch, keeping our position high on the pitch. And it all comes down in the end for me to the narrative that people expect strikers to score. Has he scored in this game? No, had a bad game then. Has he scored in this game? Yes. Okay, brilliant game. That's down to it because people judge strikers just basically on their goal scoring record, and I think that's much more. Strikers number 9 now. It wasn't like that in the past, in the 90s probably. Now they're more involved also deeper on the pitch. They can contribute also on the build up, and I think Bamford was vital for us in getting forward there with this movement.
100%. Just want to read some. We'll hear from Farke soon, and we'll start. We'll still have some more questions. I've got a load of super chats started, which I'll go through, and then I'll dip out and back in. So hopefully the chat will refresh. But Leeds United, for any Farke critics that still remain, Leeds United in 2024 played 4, won 4, goals 11, conceded 1, goal difference plus 10 with 100% win percentage. We are the only team unbeaten at home as well. So, as Delia Smith would say, where are you? Where are you? Let me get some super chats. Lee says, scummy tactics cost them the game. Big win. Agreed. Chris Moyles, big up to you, Chris. He says, never in doubt, Edjo. Scenes going on in my front room in London. What a result. Big up. Thank you, Chris. Just Yours Rent Enforcer says, the ref was shite. They was dirty, but stuck to our plan. Rutter has great feet. Somerville did some lovely stuff, but Rodon, Boss, Griev again, and DJ. Dean Jono says, Joe, this is why I use your watch along. Skycom's in a different reality. I agree, mate. That Andy Hinchcliffe was doing me tits in. Keep it up, man. Get in the leads. Dotsy says, good win. Have we proven we can win these games? I was concerned. Yeah, exactly. This is what Evie was saying weeks back, and I agree. That was the most important thing out of the day. Just getting through it and getting 3 points and going to Norwich, who have hit some form, by the way, so that won't be an easy game on Wednesday. And then obviously we've got the cup game against Plymouth to come as well. Just to take it back, Lockie, there was a lot of discussion in my chat at half-time whether or not to make changes. Do you think, I know it's easy now with hindsight, but did you think we were doing much wrong? Because I do think as a competition in the first half, it was a lot more even than the second half. I thought second half we dominated. First half, they did have a few goals, you know.
I didn't see much of the first half because of football, because I was away.
So right, okay, my bad. So let me ask someone else that question. Evie, you were having a chat at halftime, weren't you, with Chris in the chat? What would you have done at halftime?
I probably would have kept everything the same, but just given them a bit of a rollicking, because I think we missed quite a few opportunities. But I think that this team has done enough to deserve the beginning of the second half. I probably would have liked to see changes a bit earlier, because I do think we were lucky to get a penalty. You know, they were just playing dirty, and the ref was falling for it every time, and we weren't getting decisions. And then I hate set pieces, because so far we've not been great at them for like years now. You know, I'd rather we just constantly get given advantage, because of the fact that, you know, we get a corner, we get a set piece outside of the box, we get any sort of, you know, thing that requires the football to stop. We're not good at dead ball situations. So I would like us to improve on that, because that is how so many championship teams win their games, is by set pieces. And if we can't beat them, we have to join them in order to then beat them. But yeah, Farke was always going to keep it the same at halftime. You know, he's only once ever made a halftime substitution, and that was Cody Drama, I think.
And that didn't go well, did it? He brought him straight back off.
It did. Well, you know, but that's what I mean. He came on before halftime, and then he took him off at halftime. So other than that, I don't think that he's ever really made a halftime substitution. So it's kind of irrelevant if we even talk about it, because it's just not going to happen unless somebody's physically injured. But yeah, I just would like substitutions a little bit earlier still. For me,
anyway. No, I hear you. I do. It was hard at halftime to think how you could have changed it, but I do agree with you. The chat's now working, folks. So we've got just shows ready for said people that don't see what Bamford brings don't understand the game. It is that obvious. This ain't FIFA. Great panel job, by the way. Chris Kelly says first time DJ has bagged 10 in one season, baller, and he's not going to stop there. I don't think either, is he? So, yeah, what a profitable season. Can we talk about Rutter and Somerville? Because I think Rutter took a while to get into the game, and I also thought Somerville wasn't amazing. I have to agree with Eva, but it's like, in a way, because their standards are so high, that any drop off from it were like, they're not being that great today, but they were still good. Do you know what I mean? But I don't know. What's people's thoughts? I'm just going to put it out there in the ether. Somerville and Rutter, discuss. Or am I just wild?
I thought they were great, man. I thought they were great. Listen, was it their best performances known to mankind? No. If you're comparing Somerville, did he score today? No. So you could say he dropped off them. But they were always dangerous. They always posed a threat for me. I thought there was a couple of times where they held on to the ball a little bit too much, especially Rutter. I'd like him to release the ball a little bit earlier. There was time, I don't know if he was chasing a goal, chasing assists a little bit, but sometimes as a player, you can be a bit too eager to score or to create something. Sometimes you need to relax a little bit and let things happen. I think maybe there was a bit of that at the beginning of the game, but I thought when Rutter grew into the game, he again was key in everything we did going forward. Again, he was great in bringing us up the pitch transitionally. He's phenomenal at that. Every time they came on a counter-attack, every time they attacked us and we got the ball in around our own half, he'd pick it up on the half spin, Cruyff turn it and get straight back on the attack. I thought he was very good. Again, some of the balls he was playing out to Dan James on the right-hand side went under the radar. Some of the link-up play. And Somerville, you know, to say he played bad, Rutter, actually, what I will say, should have scored. Somerville, the piece of skill on that left-hand side, when he got the ball, flicked it past the player down the wing, then touched it down right on the byline. That was such a great run by Somerville. I thought Somerville he's always dangerous, man. I know what you mean if you're comparing him to some of his best performances, but I still, again, I think you guys are being quite harsh on him personally.
Can I just jump in? But just before you come in, I just want to address something, Eva. Mr. Amthrop says, anti-Somerville rhetoric is expected from this fan base, mindless at times. Not one person has given any sort of anti-Somerville rhetoric. So take that shit and take it elsewhere. Over to you, Evie. Sorry.
No, one of my frustrations was seeing how frustrated he was, especially in that first half. He kept on stopping and you know, he was doing very Nonto-esque things of stopping and expecting a free kick to be given. Yeah. His yellow card was a really needless yellow card because the ball was going to go out of play one way or another there. So it was just a really pointless challenge and another yellow card for him, which was silly because he got none of the ball. I think that was what was frustrating is that he was making, his decision making wasn't as crisp. It wasn't his. The other day when I was frustrated with him was because his touch was really heavy, whereas today his touch was very rarely heavy, but his decision making and his anger management wasn't great today. He was getting visibly frustrated, and Preston, as we've saw throughout the rest of the game, are not the team that you should get frustrated with because they're dirty, in my opinion. And it kind of feeds into that. We know we're getting a reaction out of you, so we're going to continue with doing that. You know, no, as you've already said, Joe, nobody on here has an anti-Somerville rhetoric. I absolutely love Somerville, and I think maybe you're right, because him and Rutter have set such amazingly high standards for themselves. When they don't reach those expectations that have become the norm, it is easy for us to kind of say, oh, they were poor, when actually, you know, you compare it. I don't think Kamara had his greatest game either, but Kamara hasn't reached the heights for me that Somerville has yet. So therefore, I don't judge him on the same way that I judge Somerville, because we know how crisp Somerville can be and how, you know, tactically astute he is. So when he gets floundered by a team that are so just kind of brutish and basic in their footballing skills, it's frustrating to watch.
The thing was as well was I think he got fouled 4 or 5 times before that. I think he was just so angry and annoyed that literally tries to run and they're just booting him, you know, and that's going to happen. It gets to a point.
Go on, mate. Go on.
I say it gets to a point where, and as a winger, I know annoying when you quicken someone and he just pulls you back. You want to run, you want to get out, and that's what you do. And like, look, is you wrong? Yeah, shouldn't have done it probably, right? But at the end of the day, I'd have done it. If I keep getting fouled and the ref's not giving it, you see red, you just want to go through him.
Yeah,
that.
He did. He has to watch that though, because it's the same with Melly, and I'll say the same for Melly. And Melly went the other way and actually got a red, didn't he, in this fixture? You know, the other week. So it is about, but I hear it as well, because it is so frustrating. And him and Rutter were
compared to what they were doing to us. They were doing that every tackle.
In the end, I think it wasn't probably. Of course, it was a different game. You know. They didn't have the space sometimes that they would have liked to, you know, like in different games, to get one-on-one or to be more involved in terms of the individual play. But I think, like JT said, they were very, very good, especially in the first half in the transitional play and cutting us forward. Because, like I said, I don't think Gruev was involved today like it could have been. And I think it all came down, especially in us trying to be, because at times the games was really chaotic. Because Preston were really trying to press us in their own half, of course, in terms of being aggressive on the ball. So we were quick to pass the ball around. And I think it all came down to the quick and fast ball possession to Rutter and Somerville. But of course, Somerville was more wide, and Rutter struggled to get involved sometimes. But they still had a decent game and were vital in the transitional play in the first half, especially to get us forward.
Yeah, Rutter's such a wild player that. That's who he is. Some games, those little things won't come off. Some games, 2 or 3 of them will, and he'll look world class. That's him. You don't want to kill that off him. You want to leave that. Some days you'll be stood here going, "Come on, Gio, what are you doing? What are you doing?" You know, screaming at him. But some days you'll be going, "Oh my God, what have I just witnessed?"
100%. I agree. I do. Do you think Farke is the right man? Isaac, why? Like, we're not there. Let's get promoted first, and then we'll address that. His lineups are so obvious. I mean, I disagree, because a lot of people wouldn't have felt that he'd have kept the Ampadu and Gruyev thing. So that's just not true, bro. And his sub seems programmed. Again, I disagree. Anyway, I'd say it's not a tactic. Well, we're winning games. We're the only team unbeaten. And why? Isaac, everyone's entitled to their opinion, but we're in the championship and we've just come through a game and straight away people think, right, how can I criticize him when we should be enjoying it? We should be enjoying it. Andy Toon says, have another drink on me, Joe lad, but can I ask the panel 2 questions? Why the Farke haters? Well, could someone tell us why he is genuinely... There is groups and sections of this fan base that don't rate him. Does anyone know why?
Because he's very frustrating at times. Because, listen, today, as I said, with the substitutions and everything, today is the one game I would say he was right to not make any substitutions till late on, because I don't think there was any improvement that he could have made within the squad. I don't think anyone was having standout poor performances. And there are times in which you're just looking at him and there's so many simple things, and he's so stubborn to his philosophy and what he wanted. He was so stubborn to playing Perot in the 10, and everyone's screaming out that we shouldn't be doing these things. And those things, listen, you don't get annoyed at someone because of one argument, because of one thing they said, because of one performance. You get annoyed because that performance or that decision is the straw that broke the camel's back. And unfortunately, there are many things that he's been stubborn on. There's sometimes he's been playing square pegs and round holes, and eventually that grates on people, and that can get them to build an agenda where you kind of ignore the good things they're doing. I don't agree with it. I question some of the things he does. I don't think that he is a terrible manager. I don't think there's anyone better we can get. And I'm definitely not anti-Farke. But that would be the reason I would say as to why people jump on it. Even though, like a game like today, I don't think he really did anything wrong.
No, I think that's a fair assessment of why. But like you qualified, it don't mean it's right. Evie, I can see you're ready to go. Are you wanting to say something?
Yeah, one thing that I would say is that, like, obviously I'm not a Farke hater by any stretch of the imagination, but I think, yes, it was closer than any of us probably predicted it was going to be today, but we're at home, so I think realistically we all presumed that we would probably get a win out of this game. Now, even though we're at home for the next 2 games, if you include the cup game as well, midweek games have been something that have let us down this season because of, I would say, Farke's misuse of squad rotation. I'm not saying that he shouldn't do it, he should do it, but he either does all or nothing in the midweek games. He rotates too many people or doesn't rotate enough, and they're all knackered. So I think, yes, we're unbeaten this year. Yes, we've won every game this year, as in calendar year. But I think that Wednesday is going to be a massive test for us to see where he goes with his squad rotation, with the fact that we've got the chance of a cup run. You know, I say that very quietly because Leeds and cup runs don't go very well together and it might get scared away. But I think we will see whether Farke can learn from his mistakes on Wednesday, because we have the good side of being at home, and we're always, you know, obviously much better at home than we have been away this season, but his squad rotation is going to be called into question. And I think it's those games, it's the midweek games that have tripped us up this season.
I think that's fair. I think that's a fair criticism, and we've seen, like, these are the sort of teams that we should be putting away, and we have. So let's hope, like you say, with a look ahead, if he can come through that Norwich test, which it will be a test because Norwich are going great again at the moment, so they're up and down, but they're doing well. In terms of an update on Rodon injury, I didn't know there was one, mate, so I can't give you one. I've looked at the press conference. We will go to Farke's comments in a minute, and there's nothing on there either, so I don't think there is. Andy. William says we need a Vinnie Jones for games like this. Too much finesse is not great in this league. See, I think we do have some battlers in there. I think Bamford is a shithouse on the sly. I think Ampadu, I think Rodon. I think they will have a go when needed. They just need to keep a lid on sometimes petulance. We can be a little bit petulant at time, and I thought they managed it well today, if I'm being totally honest. I think Ampadu definitely will let you know he's there. For me personally anyway, but Vinnie Jones is a different kettle of fish, and he was going around grabbing people's balls and that. You know what I mean? You don't get that in today's in today's world, do you? If we're being totally honest. I do just want to go to some Farke comments, folks. Just bear with us 1 minute while I get them up. But just see what he says. So he did say, just going, oh, by the way, just on Joe Rodon. Today was Joe Rodon's 25th start for Leeds United in all competitions. His 16th win in those games, and it is the most by a Leeds player in their first 25 games since Pontus Jansson back in 16-17. More than Ben White, which is a surprise because that season we were electric. So it shows how well we've been doing. Farke goes on to say, these are the best wins of the season. We've had electrifying home performances with many goals. Somewhere games were done at half-time, but to win this game when you have problems and started to slow, these are season-defining moments. He says it was a battle to stay cool in the circumstances with tackles flying in and out. And he said on the penalty, I sent the message from the bench carried by Rodon that Pirro should take it. He's one of our best finishers, if not the best. Ice cold, they called him. And just to jump on that, which I think's amazing. Obviously, I didn't know this had happened, but Preston at some point had put a tweet out to say ice cold finishes at ice cold celebrations, at Ellen Road. At which point, obviously, Leeds United have retweeted it with the picture of Pirro today, which I think's which I think's great. But you can't disagree with what Farke said there. It is such a huge win, isn't it, lads and lasses? Sorry,
it felt that, and that's what I said at the start when I felt a lot in this. I felt I was in it. I was there. It was weird. You know, when you watch it, it's too easy at times. He's right. It is done by half time. You kind of sat there expecting, oh, we'll score 3 or 4 more. But that one weren't. That reminded me of promotion season when games were tight and we'd just have enough in there at the end. And it did feel a bit defining in that sense. Because how many times have we had these games against Preston and other teams where we've not come through these little scraps where they've, it's their kind of cup final mentality and they're fouling us constantly and they're slowing the game down. And we've not stood up to that. The last 15 minutes today, I know it was frustrating, but I felt like we could do this. I felt like the players stepped up and we were so aggressive and we got over that hurdle. And these are big moments.
They sure are. There isn't anyone better than Farke, people. Chill says JUSTJOE's running for. Does anyone else have anything to say before we round up? Like I say,
on what he was saying there, and he touched on Pirro. And listen, I've been as critical of Pirro not working in the system as much as the next guy, but I wanted to hear what everyone else had to say about him in the 8 there, coming in for Kamara. Could it be a new Joel Linton situation? Because I thought he actually carried himself pretty well there. A couple of runs from deep. Could be a new position for him, perhaps. I mean, I get why he did it, just to, lump an extra number 9 on the pitch, just in case. The odds.
You won't get a nibble from me, mate. I still think he looked awkward as.
Awkward as. But it could be a new situation. But listen, like I said, I have to give a lot of credit to Farke there for gambling and put him on the pitch in that position because he gambled on the chance. Maybe there is a penalty. Maybe there is a set piece. Maybe there is a loose ball from a corner. And it worked out perfectly. He took the gamble and today it paid off. I criticize him sometimes when he takes the gamble and does things that doesn't work out. So it's only fair that I give him the credit where credit's due.
And I think, I want to, because I was ready to chastise him with the subs because I thought they were wrong. I don't think bringing Firpo off was right. I'd have kept him and moved Gray into midfield for Kamara and then put Firpo in a back 3 alongside. But yeah, you're right. I have to say, you know what? He got it right because ultimately, because it looked to me like Pirro was still in the 10 and then there was 2 up top, it felt like. But like say, again, I just don't like him from deep. And I think he had an opportunity to take a strike and he doesn't. He takes too long on the ball, but maybe that's confidence. But ultimately,
challenged.
He was. He delayed on it. Right, he was cold as ice, and he scores the penalty. We win the game, and it's what we deserve. And Preston got what they deserved for their shithouse tactics. That's what it was. Ryan Lowe can whinge, they can whinge, Sky can back them up, Heckingbottom can back them up, but you get what you deserve, and you deserve to lose this game.
And Joe, if this is Ipswich or Leicester that did what we just did, they're the ones getting all the praise, let's be honest. But when we do it, we scrape through it. Yeah.
Oh, trust me, there was Leeds fans who had tweets ready for us to drop points, to tweet out and say, see, we're Southampton and that are built different. Trust me, there was. So let's see. Enjoy it, man.
And your names?
I don't need to go there. You can read between the lines, my guy. Go.
No, the only thing I was going to say is that compared to Southampton and Leicester, and especially those two, I still think that they have more depth than us. Because today, I think the substitution was made late because there were not much options on the bench. Of course, there were players, but Farke always trust the same player to play now. Of course, you need time to get into the squad, and you have to take your opportunity. Look at Gruev, for example. Of course, when he had the opportunity at Peterborough, he played well. Now he's been, of course, and rightly so, kept in the side in that position also because Ampadu moved back in place of Strauch. But I still think that we need more depth, and I still think we need to make signings. So, honestly, I don't want people to get this great momentum of the fourth win in a row to say we don't need signings, because I think that we still need that. We have a very good core base now in terms of the team, but I think there needs to be more options, because I agree with you when you said I would have moved Gray to midfield and put Byram as a right back, because in the end we have three midfielders. We have Gruev, Kamara and Ampadu, because Gray is always playing as a right back. So you need another one for me in the market, honestly, to be fair. And of course, Pirot offers you different things from Bamford, but the only way that I see us going forward is with Bamford stretching the team, because Pirot doesn't do that. So I'm still wondering, what if Bamford gets injured or suspended? How do we play? We play with a different style. We return to Rutter in the 9 and Pirot in the 10. We've already seen that doesn't work. That Pirot is more like a finisher in the box, a very good penalty taker too. If you look at his goal maps, all of them apart one are in the box. So he's a finisher, I don't like him to playing deep, honestly, behind the striker. So still needs signings for me.
Yeah, just to agree.
I agree with Andrea, and it's what my point that I was making a few weeks ago, which nobody agreed with me at the time, was we've got no game changers. And now we're seeing that, and I think that's the first time that we've had a player come off the bench and score a winning goal so far this season, which just for me shows that we don't have game changers on the bench, because we shouldn't be in the second half of the season, and that's the first time that's happening. We should have people who can spin games on their head, and maybe would have had more points than we do have if we had a stronger bench. Our starting 11 is fantastic, and arguably one of, if not the best starting 11 in the entire league, but we fail where our bench is concerned, and the teams above us are above us, for me, because of that reason.
See, I think for me, I disagree, and the reason I disagree is because arguably the bench is one of the strongest benches as well. Okay, we could do with another sort of 10 type player, say if you brought in David Brooks, but does he want to sit on the bench? So it's difficult for us to do, and maybe it should have been addressed in the summer. But if you look at Nonto, you look at Jadon Anthony, you look at Pirot, even Cooper to an extent, they walk on to most teams' first 11s, let alone the benches. So I disagree, but that's just my opinion.
I'm not arguing that point though, and I'm arguing game changers.
But they are game. You're saying they come on and score, like they're not there.
No, but you're saying that they're game changers, and I'm saying that they're not game changers. I'm saying that
because they haven't scored when they've come on.
No, because they've not made an impact when they've come on. You don't have to score to make an impact. Cooper hasn't made an impact when he's come on. So I'm saying that we don't have impact changers. We have like for like replacements, but we don't have game changers, because if we did, we would have more points on the board.
Okay, so what I would say in response to that, though, at what point do they become a game changer and not a game changer? Is it if they scored once out of 10 games, right? Okay, they'll qualify as a game changer. Or I don't understand. No. For me, they are a player that can change a game. They haven't, but at what point? Who qualifies as a game changer? Just because they score?
Well, so far, nobody qualifies.
No, but in your opinion, like what would qualify as a game changer? Is Pirot today, because he scored a penalty, a game changer?
Now he's starting on the bench. I think that's an excellent
to
bring on personally. because he scores goals.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
But it's taken us over half a season to get to that point where he's been subbed off so that he can then be subbed on later on in a game. You know, it's taken half a season for us to find one game changer who was up until the last 3 weeks in our starting 11. So for me, we've got 14 players maybe who are starting 11 quality, but not necessarily. I don't think we have game changers.
What are they? What are they according to you? I'm curious, Evie. I just want to. I'd also
say Jayden Anthony, because at the start of the season, I know he doesn't get a lot of minutes. I think if he does get more minutes, I think he could potentially be as well. But the issue is again, it's Farke making late subs, so these guys have less time to impact the game. I think we have that. Even Nonto, for an example, any team in the Championship, he can come off any bench, even in the Premier League. But it's about them stepping up, right? It's about them being what they can be. Because Nonto is a game changer for anyone. He was for us last year, you know, when it used to come off the bench and stuff. So I think we do, but I do get they're not coming on, and I think doing what they should be, if that makes sense. So Anthony's not coming on and tearing fullbacks apart and getting goals and assists like he did at the start of the season. Remember when he scored that goal and we're like, right, that's an excellent option to have. Nonto coming on and getting goals and assists. They don't have a long time to do it though. I think that's the
I think as well, if we're saying we have 14 first team players, the 3 that are deemed good enough for you, Evie, to be first team players, naturally are then game changers.
No,
because they're good enough to play.
No.
Right. So hear me out then. So if someone came off the bench and was a game changer for 5 games on the spin and then started, would the player that went out then not be a game changer?
No, because you're missing my point. A game changer.
I'm not. I just don't agree with your point.
Well, but you are though, because when I'm saying we've got 14 players, I'm saying we've got 14 players who can start a game and who can produce within a game. We don't have a player who can come from cold, come on a game like Pablo used to. He could come on a game and spin it on its head. We don't have those. I understand Pablo was, very unique, but lots of teams have those game changers. Look at Darwin Núñez at Liverpool, for instance. I know it's Premier League, so different level, but he is a game changer.
He starts, man. He starts.
He does. Listen, I think
earlier on in the season, he didn't, did he? He came on and scored 2 against Newcastle and won Liverpool that game.
Hear me out, right? Hear me out, though. They have Darwin Núñez. They have Darwin Núñez, Jota, Luis Diaz, Curtis. It's not the same, man. We can't compare Liverpool to Leeds.
Joe, to be honest, I agree with both of you, but I think what Evie's saying is basically but the point is
you've been pedantic.
No, I think if I was to say, I agree with you. We have quality there, but the thing is, do we have players maybe that offer something, a different attribute, maybe a different play? Do they change the style of play when they come on? Do they make us more direct? Do they add pace? Do they? That is the point that I think Evie is trying to make. Do they change the dynamic of the team when they come on, or are they like for like also very good players? I agree with you that I think we have quality players like Wilfred Gnonto that should be game changers. The question is, do they play in the same way as a Somerville, or do they change the way they run the same way Bamford does with Perot?
It's like if we brought in Brooks, for example, from Bournemouth, and we take whoever's Dan James off, Brooks is a different option. It changes the game in the sense that he's an inverted winger, so it's a different option, right? So it's kind of breaking lines and breaking defenses through different types of players. I do understand that,
Yeah, okay.
But we're not going to
this is how bad it is, Joe. You've got me and JT agreeing.
I agree with both of you. I agree with both of you. I agree with both of you.
Me and Evie have agreed on a lot lately, so we had a good run, and now we're back to the norm.
It was nice fun while it lasted.
Yeah, exactly. It was nice while it lasted, but no, it's good. Thank you, everyone, for contributing as well in the chat. Keep it civil, keep it sweet. We love it. That's how we keep it all between ourselves. And also, Daniel Farke has dedicated the win to Jayden Anthony and his family, and it's the reason why it meant so much to today, which is great because obviously his mum passed away. Just to finish, rest in peace, and thoughts with Jaden Anthony. Just to finish, I want to know everyone's man of the match. I think Bamford and JT, yours, mine was Dan James. So let me get Lockie's first.
Joe Rodon.
Joe Rodon, I think it's a fair shout. He's an absolute colossus. And Evie, I don't think I've had yours.
Dan James.
Dan James as well. We've got 2 for James, 2 for Bamford. Considering you only seen the second 45, Lockie, you're the deciding vote. Who gets it, Bamford or James?
I'll change my vote right now if you go for Bamford.
What, Bamford or James? James.
No, it's James or Bamford, isn't it? Because they're 50-50. James, there you go. We win. There you go. Andrea will not. JT lose. Right, listen, folks. We'll leave it there because we've done an hour. It was 11 we had like nearly 1,500 people, which is absolutely amazing. Please make sure you check out my reactions. Genuinely felt at times that I was back in Ellen Road. There was one moment where I just went, "Come on, Leeds!" out of nothing. And I was like, whoa, I'm sat in my bedroom, not in the car. Please do smash a like.
Are you a real fan then, Joe?
Oh, no, that's the word on the street, isn't it? That's the word on the street.
Can I say something? I want to say, Evie, very nice clock, that one. Very nice clock. The one behind you.
Thank you.
It's a good job you got that pronunciation right, mate, 'cause that could have been very dangerous.
Yeah, because sometimes I was saying heavy, IE, and now I got
we road to demonetization, mate.
Yeah. No, I wasn't talking about the pronunciation of Evie. I was.
Okay.
Clock.
No,
yeah.
No,
nice
the one
Robin.
Batman
and Robin.
Lowering the tone, Joe. Lowering the tone.
Exactly. Yeah. There you go. Make sure you check out JT at JT Live. Evie, a channel coming soon, I believe. Make sure you check out Andrea, who also may have something coming very, very shortly as well. Check him out on Twitter in the meantime. Check out Lockie as well, please, at Lockie Leeds. They'll be doing post-match and all that sort of stuff. Tomorrow, I will be doing a watch-along of Leicester versus Ipswich. Hopefully, Leicester do us a favour, because if they do, we've then got 2 teams to claw back with just 4 points. And final word will be after that. So it will be alert one. But if you're around, please do watch. And we'll see you in a bit. Thanks always for watching. Bye-bye now.